Pain, you can't outrun it. You can't hide from it. It's the entrance fee to this game of life. You will feel it. Whether you're rich or poor, whether you're climbing the ladder or standing at the top, pain visits everyone. The question is never if you'll be hurt. The question is, what will you do when it happens? See, life doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't knock on your door and politely ask if it can teach you a lesson. No, it storms in, uninvited, brutal, unfair. Life breaks you open when you're least prepared. Your girlfriend cheats, your best friend betrays you, your boss fires you after years of loyalty, your business fails, people spread lies, they try to break your name, your spirit, your future. And most people, the 99%, they fold, they start crying, they react, they spiral into emotion, they go online and post sob stories, they want pity, they want validation, they want someone to tell them it's okay to be weak, and the world will give them that. Because the world wants you soft, weak, controlled. The system thrives when you're emotional and distracted, but not you, not the top G's. Because here's what I learned, not in books, not in school, but in war. Emotional reaction is weakness. When life slapped me, I didn't cry. When I lost everything, I didn't post quotes on Instagram looking for sympathy. I walked into the fire and became the flame. I've been broke. I've been betrayed. I've sat on the cold floor of a foreign country with no cash, no plan, no backup. I've been banned, censored, hunted, and through it all, I never let the world see me suffer. You know why? Because pain is currency. It's what the universe gives you in exchange for power. You either spend it crying or you invest it grinding. People love to say, I'm only human, like it's a weakness. But being human means you've got the ability to rise above emotion, to master yourself. That's what makes you dangerous. Because the man who can smile while his world is on fire, that man is untouchable. So when pain comes, and it will, you don't flinch, you don't whine, you don't punch the wall or beg for answers. You take that pain and you mold it into something that feeds your discipline, your ambition, your hunger. You say, all right, pain, you came to test me. Watch what I do with you. Because that's the difference between men who stay average and men who rise to the top. The average man breaks when he's hurt. The elite man builds. Every time you react, you give away power. Simple. That's the game most people never understand. The second you let someone pull a reaction out of you, anger, sadness, frustration, you've handed them the steering wheel of your mind. You're no longer the driver. You're the passenger in your own life, being tossed around by whoever knows how to push your buttons. And trust me, people know, they can smell it. Weak men are easy to provoke. You raise your voice, make a slick comment, give them a dirty look, and boom, they explode. Emotional, predictable, controlled, like a dog chasing every car that passes by. No purpose, just reaction. You know who never reacts? The man in control. The man who's mastered his emotions is a threat. You can insult him, lie about him, try to humiliate him, and he won't flinch because he understands one fundamental truth. Losing control is losing the game. The world is built to distract you, to provoke you. You think the insults and attacks are personal? They're not. They're tests. The world wants to know, are you disciplined or are you soft? Can you stay calm when chaos erupts? Can you keep your composure when everyone else loses theirs? That's what separates warriors from weaklings. Let me tell you something that happened to me. I was in a room once full of powerful men, entrepreneurs, fighters, politicians. One man, clearly insecure, tried to disrespect me publicly. He thought he could provoke me, make a scene, get me to snap and lower myself. I didn't blink. I didn't speak. I looked him in the eyes, gave a small smile, and I waited. Within minutes, he unraveled. he exposed himself. That's the power of non-reaction. You force the enemy to show their hand while keeping yours close to your chest. Because the truth is, the strongest man in the room is never the loudest. He's the one who doesn't need to react to prove anything. His presence speaks louder than words. His silence is heavier than any scream. You know why so many people fail? Because they're slaves to emotion. They get offended and they blow up. They get hurt and they beg for attention. They get triggered and they post it online. You're not a machine, but you better be damn close to one if you want to win. When you learn to stop reacting, you free yourself from the chains most people never even see. You become calm, focused, strategic. You become the storm they never saw coming. So let them throw shade. Let them spread lies. Let them try to hurt you. You don't flinch. You don't post. You don't punch walls. You train harder. You work smarter. You become colder, calmer, more calculated, because in this world, reacting is weakness. And weakness is blood in the water. Life is not a playground, it's a battlefield. And the battlefield is a chessboard. Every move you make either brings you closer to victory or sets you up to lose. But here's what most people don't get. The moment you start reacting emotionally, you're no longer playing chess, you're playing checkers. Impulsive, basic, easy to predict. And predictable men never win. You have to understand something. Nothing in this life is random. Every insult, every betrayal, every loss you face is part of a bigger game. The people who try to hurt you, who throw shade at your name, who try to get a reaction out of you, they're trying to pull you into a trap. They're testing your emotional control. And if you respond like they want, angry, impulsive, desperate, you've already lost. You played your hand too early. I've sat in rooms with billionaires who said nothing for hours, and then in 5 seconds, they checkmated an entire boardroom full of amateurs. Why? Because they waited, they watched, they studied. That's what the top players do. They don't chase drama. They don't argue over petty nonsense. They think 10 moves ahead while everyone else is focused on the next 30 seconds. And that's exactly what you need to do. When someone disrespects you, don't react. Observe. When life knocks you down, don't scream, analyze. Every setback, every painful moment is a piece on the board. Move it wisely. Use it to set up your comeback. Because here's the truth most men never learn. The best revenge is patience. Not silence for the sake of weakness, but silence because you're building something they can't even imagine. You take your time. You elevate your mind, your body, your business while they're watching your old version. You're working in the dark, upgrading. You don't need to announce it. You show it in results they can't ignore. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, someone crossed me bad, publicly, loudly, thinking they'd embarrassed me, thinking I'd break. I didn't post about it. I didn't confront them. I didn't even acknowledge it. I went silent. And in that silence, I built. I turned pain into profit. I created something so massive, so dominant, that years later they were forced to watch me rise while they stayed stuck in the same miserable place. They made their move. I made mine. I let them think they won. I let them underestimate me. Then I flipped the board. See, chess isn't about reacting to every piece your opponent moves. It's about letting them walk right into a trap you set 10 moves ago. And you can't set that trap if you're too busy flinching at every insult, responding to every distraction. So play the long game. Be calm, be cold, be calculated, because when the time is right, you won't just win. You'll dominate. And they'll realize too late that while they were trying to trigger you, you were already planning their defeat. Revenge doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need fists. It doesn't need shouting. The most devastating revenge you can ever unleash is success. The kind of success that silences every voice that ever doubted you. Because when you react with noise, you're playing their game. But when you respond with results, you change the entire game. You elevate to a level they can't even reach, let alone understand. They said you wouldn't make it, then become the man they can't ignore. They tried to embarrass you. Now your name is in rooms they'll never be invited to. They left you, doubted you, mocked you. Now you're standing in places they only see in dreams. That's the kind of revenge I live for. The silent kind. The kind that hits them when they think you're gone and suddenly you're everywhere. You want to win? Stop posting about your pain. Stop proving yourself to people who already made up their minds. They want a reaction. They want to know they got to you. And most men give it to them. They rant. They gossip. They start fights. They try to get even. But here's the thing. Getting even is a low man's goal. Getting better, that's where the power is. That's where the true killers thrive. When someone betrays you or breaks you, don't waste a second proving them wrong. Just get to work. Go harder in the gym. Build something with your hands. Learn something new. Stack money. Level up so brutally that they regret ever speaking your name. And when you're standing at the top, calm, collected, victorious, you won't even need to say a word. Your presence will haunt them. Every achievement you rack up, every time your name is mentioned with respect, every time they see you succeed without them, it's like a dagger twisting deeper. You ever see someone go quiet after talking trash for months? That's what success does. It shuts people up. You don't need to humiliate them. Just let them watch you become everything they said you couldn't. That's the slow burn, the one that eats them alive from the inside out. I remember being laughed at, told I'd never make it. I remember the smirks, the backhanded comments, the people who walked away because they didn't see the vision. I never clapped back. I never begged for loyalty. I just worked day and night, alone, focused. And now those same people scroll in silence, watching, regretting, wondering how I did it. That's the kind of revenge I want for you. The one where you don't even look back because you're too far ahead. Let them live with the weight of their mistake while you soar. Let your name rise so high it becomes a reminder of everything they lost. Success isn't just a reward, it's a weapon. Wield it without mercy. You have two choices in this world. You can be a wound or you can be a weapon. A wound leaks. A wound shows pain. A wound gets infected. A wound makes you weak. And most people, they live like wounds, constantly bleeding, constantly begging for someone to patch them up. They want sympathy. They want comfort. They want someone to tell them it's okay to be broken. But there's nothing powerful about being broken. There's no glory in being fragile. You get hurt and you stay hurt. That's not strength. That's surrender. And life doesn't reward surrender. It punishes it. The man who wins is the man who gets hit, absorbs it, and transforms it into force. You cut him, he doesn't bleed out. He sharpens himself on the pain. He doesn't scream. He smiles. He becomes cold, disciplined, lethal. That's what I chose to be. A weapon. Forged through pressure, not pampered by pity. Every betrayal I took, steel. Every lie told about me, heat. Every failure, every night I sat in silence, with no one clapping for me, hammer strikes. And now, I don't walk into a room looking for comfort. I walk in like a sword drawn, silent, sharp, ready. Because once you decide to stop living as a victim, something inside you clicks. You stop explaining yourself. You stop proving yourself. You stop trying to be understood. You realize you were never meant to be understood by people too weak to carry their own pain. You're here to dominate, not to be pitied. When people try to hurt you and you don't react, not because you're numb, but because you're in control, that's real power. That's when you become dangerous. You become unpredictable. You become untouchable. People expect the scream, the rage, the breakdown. But when you stand there calm, focused, with a smile that says, you have no idea who you just tried to hurt, that's when they feel the fear. And you don't even have to raise your voice. Your presence does the talking. Your progress speaks louder than any revenge plot. The ones who thought they broke you, they watch you move forward, untouchable, elevated, sharper than ever, and it haunts them. Because they didn't just fail to break you, they made you stronger. Be that man. Not a wound crying for closure, but a weapon, sharpened by every single hit life throws at you. When pain comes, don't react. Smile, Let them wonder why you're still standing. Let them see what true resilience looks like. Because the man who turns pain into power and silence into strength, that man becomes unstoppable. So here's the truth. Raw, unfiltered, no sugarcoating. Pain is not the enemy. Emotion is not your master. Reaction is not your path. You are not here to be soft. You are not here to be understood. You are not here to be liked, to be coddled, to cry over every insult or betrayal that comes your way. You are here to win, to dominate, to evolve into something so sharp, so focused, so untouchable that the same world that tried to break you now studies you in silence. Let them talk. Let them lie. Let them try to hurt you. You don't flinch. You don't fold. You don't fire back with weakness. You rise without noise. You move without emotion. You succeed without permission. Because the highest level of strength isn't found in screaming. It's found in control. And the man who controls himself controls the game. You don't react when they try to break you. You build. You don't cry when it hurts. You calculate. You don't seek revenge. You become it. Now walk out there with your head high and your emotions buried deep under discipline. Let them wonder how you never crumbled. Let your silence echo louder than their noise. Let your success be the only response they'll ever get. And when they finally look up and see the man you've become, it'll be too late to stop you. Because you didn't just survive the pain, you mastered it. You turned it into power. And now you're unbreakable.